faithfully conveying value and interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today, we're going to interpret the book Misogyny for you. So, what is misogyny? As the name suggests, misogyny means hatred of women. You might think only abnormal people would hate women. Men fall in love and marry women, so how could they hate women? And women certainly wouldn't hate themselves. But the author of this book wants to tell us that there's a societal illness called misogyny. For a simple example, most swear words involve mothers and female genitalia, using sexual organs to insult and demean women. That's a typical manifestation of misogyny. Of course, misogyny isn't just about this one phenomenon. It's far more complex than you might imagine. We'll analyze this in more detail later. The book's author, Chizuko Ueno, is one of Japan's most renowned scholars, equivalent to Lee Yinhei, specializing in gender studies. So, what's there to study about gender? What inspired the author to pursue gender studies was an incident during her university days. In the 1970s, the democratic student movement erupted in Japan, with students taking to the streets to express dissatisfaction with the authoritarian, militaristic government. Ueno enthusiastically joined the movement, but this experience deeply disappointed her because men led confrontations with police while women were treated as second-class fighters, only providing logistical support. Even more shockingly, women provided sexual services to men. It was precisely after seeing such phenomena that some women in the movement began to reflect, sparking Japan's feminist movement in the 1970s. Chizuko Ueno. Under such circumstances, she grew into a leading figure in Japanese feminist theory and gender studies. Misogyny is a key outcome of Ueno's research. This book analyzes in detail the core pathology, symptoms, manifestations, and harms of misogyny. All right, let's first discuss what the core pathology of misogyny is. Misogyny refers to discrimination against women. In other words, it's a societal mechanism that subjects women to unfair treatment. A society with misogyny can also be called a patriarchal society or male-dominated society. A male-dominated society maintains itself through two means: alliance and division. Specifically, men build strong alliances but prevent women from forming similar ones, fragmenting female identity. This is misogyny's core pathology. Next, we'll analyze alliance and division one by one. First, let's talk about alliance among men. Imagine a scene where two masters are locked in a fierce duel. One leans in and whispers, "Your kung fu is really impressive." After countless exchanges, they develop mutual respect and become sworn brothers. From rivals to close allies, this is a trope often used in martial arts films. Have you noticed that alliances born from competition usually only exist among men? Among women, competition often turns into palace intrigue dramas like Empresses in the Palace. Because in palace dramas, there's always a male arbiter, so it's hard for women to form alliances, unlike male alliances. To put it in one sentence, for men, brothers are like limbs. Women are like clothes. Male alliances are more powerful. So, how does such a male alliance discriminate against women? Generally, discrimination requires three people. Two men forming an alliance to marginalize a woman. For example, Shaming often argues with his wife. One day, he complains to another man, "What are women thinking? I just don't get it." Xiaoming says this to seek validation from other men, thereby reinforcing male identity and marginalizing women. And at this point, whether a woman is present and how she reacts, actually it doesn't matter. If the other man agrees and says, "You're so right, I don't know what these women are complaining about," then the act of discrimination is complete. But if the other man questions it, then Xiaoming's attempt at validation fails. He would turn and accuse that man, "What, are you even a man?" to attack him for deviating from the male world. Men feel pressure to maintain male alliances, or they'll be questioned, "Are you even a man?" For a boy to become a real man, he must join the alliance and collectively discriminate against women with other men, so his status is recognized. That's why patriarchal society can't tolerate homosexuality. Because if men desire other men sexually, some men would become sexual objects. In this way, the male alliance we just discussed gets destroyed. So how does this male alliance divide and conquer women? This is actually a conspiracy of the patriarchal society. The patriarchal society divides and conquers women to circumvent loopholes in the male alliance mechanism. As we said earlier, the male alliance is established on collectively devaluing women. But here's the problem. What status should men give to their mothers? All men are born from mothers, yet mothers are women. Should they devalue their own mothers? To cleverly circumvent this, patriarchal society racked its brains and split women into two incompatible groups, the Madonnas and the whores. Madonnas are women solely for reproduction who must become mothers and families, while whores are women solely for pleasure. Like prostitutes and mistresses, men are permitted to have both types. This is tacitly permitted by society. Since the Victorian era, monogamous families and institutionalized prostitution coexisted. Gentlemen flattered ladies who'd faint at cockroaches while frequently visiting brothels. For men, Madonnas must remain pure and chaste, the virtuous wife and mother ideal. Imaginative patriarchy created the ultimate ideal in the Bible, Virgin Mary, both virgin and mother. But whores aren't allowed children, especially sons, which creates bastard identity crises. Prostitutes with children disrupt this division and get mercilessly discarded. Ironically, though, both are oppressed, Madonnas and whores despise each other. Online, women often lead witch hunts against mistresses while the man disappears. Mistresses then mock wives for lacking sexual appeal. Men forming alliances to divide women's identities, that's misogyny's core pathology. Next, let's explore how misogyny manifests differently in various people. First, misogyny. Manifestations in heterosexual men. In the book, Shizuko Ueno examines two male writers famous for loving women. They frequented red light districts and produced much erotic literature. So do such lustful men actually hate women? Actually, these so-called women experts aren't depicting real women. They're writing male sexual fantasies about women. For example, they describe female nudity, genitalia, even isolated body parts where a miniskirt or high heels alone can ignite male desire. Which specific woman it is doesn't matter to them. Some might think this is exaggerated. After all, it's just fantasy. Don't women fantasize about muscular men and domineering CEOs too? Interestingly, this domineering CEO fantasy is actually a manifestation of misogyny too. This brings us to misogyny in women. Women's fantasies often include tropes like kabedashtan, wall pins, and forced kisses. In these scenarios, men are absolutely dominant while women are passive admirers. Women like domineering CEOs because they seem manly, yet these men view women as possessions, not equals. The common idol drama line is, "Only I can protect you." The implication, I must guard my woman from other men. A possessive attitude, not genuine respect. We've also heard, women must save face for men and play weak so men don't feel inadequate. But we never hear the opposite. This gendered double standard reflects unequal power dynamics. Men must remain dominant. If women are too assertive, they threaten male dominance, unacceptable and socially condemned. A henpecked husband gets mocked. Can't even control your own woman? In a misogynistic society, male love is assumed to mean protecting women. That love is sacrifice. When Japan's crown prince got married, media reported he told his wife Masako, "I will protect you with all my might throughout my life." Oof. Oof. How many Japanese women's hearts did that statement capture? As for wives, the common wedding vow is, "I will always follow you." At first listen, it sounds romantic, but its implied meaning is, a man's love means domination and control. A woman's love means obedience and being owned, Yet women still swoon over this. Here, women position themselves as passive, willingly rejecting agency while calling it sweet. This is misogyny. It manifests within women themselves. Having covered misogyny in both genders, let's examine specific cases of misogyny across different social classes in Japan.